Welcome to Cake on Tuesday, where we spotlight the rule breakers, the underdogs who refuse to listen when everyone said it won't work. I'm Elizabeth Bieniek, and for the next 20 minutes, we're diving into another disruptive innovation story that proves sometimes the craziest ideas change everything. Today's guest is Josh Thomas. With a background in sales and operations, Josh is a serial entrepreneur who has built not one, not two, not three, but 4 seven-figure businesses. After some of his clients started asking how he was so prolific and still managed to have a smile on his face, he has now packaged his operating model into his current business, which is disrupting the virtual assistant model. His company, VAIQ, is built on the concept of managed remote talent, and he believes so strongly in this that if they don't perform, you don't pay. Josh, welcome to Cake on Tuesday.
I love cake and I love Tuesdays. Normally I'm eating tacos, but I'll make an exception for that today.
Well, cake can come after the tacos. That is okay.
There you go.
All right. Thanks for being here. You're super fun to chat with, and I love this. I know Josh because I had a chance to appear on his podcast, The Do Zone, earlier this year. And what struck me is Josh embodies exactly what we love on Cake and Tuesday, which is all about action. Don't tell me, show me. So this is what your business is built on as well. Before we dive in here, can you tell us a little bit about what gets you out of bed in the morning? What sets your soul on fire about what you're doing?
You know, a long time ago, I was really, really bad at everything. And I got up anyway, and I kept going. Here's the thing that they don't really tell you about being an entrepreneur and striving to, create some sort of success for your life. The world really just doesn't care. They're not going to take it easy on you. If you show up without a clear message, you will get ignored. Even if you show up with a clear message and you're in a crowded market, you're probably going to get drowned out. And, bad news, everything's hard. But that's kind of the point, because if you keep getting up and you keep saying, no, I'm not going to let somebody else decide my fate, I'm going to decide my own fate, then eventually you'll grab a little foothold of something. And when you get it, that's going to be your path up. And for me, that path was really diving into how businesses operate. It's an area that most people don't understand and don't do very well. And for me, I had no choice but to make sure that the operations were in place, because there was just no margin for error for me for a long time. It's like, if I'm going to do something, I need to make sure that I'm not just tripping myself along the way. And operations for me was the path to get that clean. And that's when I realized most people aren't paying attention to this. They're running as fast as they can in 75 directions, just hoping to figure something out. But you don't have to run as long as you've got the right machine in place. And so what gets me up every day is really helping people understand how much easier their life could be if they would just have some sort of system that they would follow. Even if that system doesn't produce massive results every day, it's this incremental thing that creates compounding results over time.
Yeah. So you're talking about the really important idea of don't start running until you know what direction you're going. And
Dang.
I think that's really hard sometimes as an entrepreneur, especially when you are trying to build something new, you're trying to scale, or you're just starting out and margins are thin, things are tight. Everyone feels like I got to be doing, but you're really focused on, okay, let's look at the operations here, which is not always the sexy thing. So
it's not sexy. It's so boring.
When people come to you, I'm assuming they already realize they're drowning and need help. But what is that kind of aha moment you see a lot of times with your clients where they're like, all right, it's not running faster. I actually need to pause and set this all up, and then I can go. What does that kind of aha moment look like for them?
Well, I'm actually going to break this into 2 different types of people. I'm trying to figure out how do I put so that I'm not it's this way. Okay. So it's 2 different types of people. There's the typical entrepreneur that is just overwhelmed and overworked and overstressed. And that's a lot of them. And it's okay. If I just said that and you're like, ugh, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you.
Well, I think we're all there at some point too.
Then there's a second type of entrepreneur who is trying to expand their production and clone themselves. And there's some crossover. It's like a Venn diagram, you know. There's some crossover, but for the most part, there's people that are just like, man, I got too much going on. And then there's people that are like, man, how do I get more out of what I have?
Yeah.
And each of them has different needs. The person who's overwhelmed just needs some structure. Like a little bit of structure will make a huge impact. The person who wants to expand their production, they just need more firepower, right? And that will make a big impact. So, for instance, I've had the successful clients that I've taken on have realized, like, I know that I've got something good, but I can't seem to get enough of it out there. Going back to a client that I had about 5 years ago, I showed up and he was doing about $30,000 a month. He had this coaching program and he was doing sales and he was really good, probably the best in his little niche. It was just like the best. But he wasn't really a sales guy. He didn't really have a good process in place to get sales or to follow up or anything.
Yeah.
And so what we started with was, okay, well, let's get clear on your message and what it is that you're actually saying, because we can't just be like, hey, we'll do a real good job. You know, like there has to be a process. People think in a certain way. And so we built out the sales process and the message and follow-ups and emails and all of these things. And then within 90 days, we were able to take him from 30K months to 150K months. So we 5X'd his business in 90 days. Not because we spent a bunch of money on ads or we got more leads. Nothing changed. Literally nothing changed, except for we put some systems in place so that he could capture all the opportunity that was already coming his way. And that's really the power of, you know, just getting structure and organized in your business. Is you probably already have a ton of opportunity in front of you. You're just not capitalizing on it because you're too frazzled. You're going in too many directions. You can't even see what's in front of you because you're too busy looking like 17 steps ahead.
Yeah. What was your aha moment, kind of the founder journey, you'd say, of this, of the founder story of you've built other businesses, you've done other things, but obviously there was something that made that click for you of, okay, I got to build a business around this. What was that story for you?
Well, the selfish one is I got tired of building other people's stuff.
Okay, fair enough. Say more.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I would go in and I would be this high paid fancy pants consultant, right? And I would go in and work.
That's what I have on my business card, by the way. Fancy pants consultant.
Yeah. I thought about getting like business cards that were actually like pants with some sparkles on them.
Ooh,
it's like shaped like pants, you know, and like, here's my card, you know.
All right, if somebody listening to this builds that business card, please send one to me. I want to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I would build these businesses and they would be successful and they're like, thanks for the money, you know, and that was it. I never had any equity or anything. I'm like,
right.
This is not a good deal. Like I just spent years on this, you know. But what I realized is every single time I would come in and do this, there was a construction company I brought in. I came in and they had a lot of inbound traffic because they were in this a very trendy niche of construction. And they just had like literally nothing. Like there was no organization whatsoever. And so I hired a couple of VAs and I came in and basically became the COO. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. And we built that structure. It took a couple of months and then, you know, they 5X their sales. And then they were like, thanks for the money, you know, and I'm like, okay, that happened again. That's weird. And that's when I realized like, okay, what's more important about what I'm doing here? Is it coming in and being a part of this business or whatever, or is it just establishing structure? Because I can establish structure and offer that as a service. I didn't realize that's what I was doing until I kept coming in and like these guys were just following a system that I put in place and it would blow up their sales.
Yeah.
And so that's when I realized like, oh, okay, I just need to focus on creating the structure and offering that structure at a service so that, you know, now I'm not going to be your fractional COO, but I can build the structure and make sure that that structure is working for you. No problem. And I can do that at scale.
Right, right. I think that is a really key thing that you're hitting on because, like we said, structure and operations, it's not sexy. It's not the bright and shiny thing. It's usually not the thing that we think of as being on fire, but it can be world changing. I mean, you're talking about one of your clients that 5x his sales. I mean, that is pretty impactful. How do you go about sharing that value? Because everybody's always focused on the top line and not the bottom line. You're in a bottom line business that impacts your top line. So how do you tell that story?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll tell you, I'm not the world's greatest salesperson. I thought I was for a long time, most people do, but my track record wouldn't say that. But regardless, all of these companies that I work with, a lot of my focus was on sales because sales needs to be a process, and marketing, lead generation, and nurturing. It's all a process. And I won't ever be the best sales guy on the phone by any means, but I can build a process. And if I can build a process that works and I can make it repeatable, then it becomes an asset that doesn't depend on like your one rock star sales guy. And if he leaves, everything falls apart. I ended up being, for one of my clients, I ended up being the rock star sales guy. And I was the only person basically closing deals for a while. And we both realized like, this is not sustainable. And so I had to turn what I was doing, which was a process, I had to turn it into a process that was repeatable. And once I did that, then his company was able to flourish and it wasn't dependent on just one person. And that's one thing that a lot of people are missing is like, hey, nobody can do it as good as me. Then you just need a better process.
All right. I want to go a little deeper on that because I think that is very key, especially right now in the world. Everybody's talking about AI. Everybody's talking about I can't even say that. Automation.
Automation. I like it. All right. Well, let's go with it.
We're making up some words here while we're at it. How do you continue to have the personal approach and the personal feel? I mean, that's one of the reasons I like talking to you is like what you see is what you get. If I call up Josh, I'm going to get Josh. How do you keep that realness and authenticity when you're building a process and building a formula? I know some people feel like, oh, that's just, if I make it repeatable and formulaic, then I'm losing that personal touch. What would your counter to that be?
Yeah, so I'll give an example of a client that I worked with. We built up his company and he was the face of the company. The company was literally his name. And we had a problem because he was interested in selling the company at some point. And I'll keep his name out of it for now, but it's like, if you don't find somebody with your name, then it's going to be real hard to sell this company, man. And so we went through a very painful rebranding process. But the first thing that we started doing is we started extracting him little by little from the delivery, and we watched how people respond. Because people were attracted to this organization because of him. And they would come in and we would just take him away just a little bit more each time until I got to this point to where basically all he was doing was when people signed up for this program, and it was very expensive. It was like 5 figures, mid 5 figures. He would do one onboarding call with them for like 30 minutes or something. And then he got too busy doing some other things. And he's like, I can't take these calls anymore. And I'm like, well, this is going to be interesting. So we took him out. He was 100% now out of the delivery about everything. He never talked to any of the clients. Had no impact. It had no impact whatsoever. They didn't care. Because here's the thing about your clients and your customers. They don't actually really care who you are.
We're not as important as we think we are, huh?
We're nowhere near as important. Like your kids think you're important. Everybody else, you're pretty much replaceable, right? Because the thing that your clients really care about is themselves. And they care about the results that they're able to get, the problems that they have that they're able to get solved. And if you happen to be the person solving that problem, they're grateful that it doesn't matter what you look like or what your name is.
Right.
So if you feel like, oh, hey, nobody can do this but me, this business is my personality, it's my identity, I challenge you to start extracting yourself just one step at a time. Because if you think about it, like Microsoft, Apple, Google, Tesla, like Elon Musk isn't calling you up and saying, hey, thanks for buying a Tesla. Like, he's not doing that. And maybe people buy Teslas because of him or whatever, but they don't have to talk to him.
Right.
Because he's got his systems in place.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good insight there. Where are you excited to go next? What's on the future for VAIQ? What's on the future for you? What's exciting about 2026?
There's a couple of things that we're really being intentional about right now. So I've done things for myself for a long time and, worked with clients and these sorts of things. And over the last couple of years, I just ad hoc placed a virtual assistant for one of my clients and like, here, work with this person, but here's how you need to run it. It needs to go this way or it's going to fail. Like, I've seen it fail too many times. And the reason that it fails is there's this term called operational drift, which is basically like, remember that game of telephone when we were kids? And I would say like,
I have kids, Jess. I live that game every day.
Yeah. And what comes out the other side is like, oh, the Backstreet Boys suck. Like, that's not what I said. Yeah. So operational drift, it's like the business version of telephone, where if you're not constantly monitoring your processes, they're naturally going to vary and drift over time. And so we put something in place that's like, hey, this is how you keep your processes in order to make sure that you execute successfully. And we're going to put a VA into this system to make sure that they can do it. And so the reason I'm telling you this is we started offering that as a service because it's what I kept doing for all my clients. And whenever people would ask for a VA, I'm like, I'll give you a VA, but I'm only going to give it to you if you do this. And so the service was born, VAIQ was born, and we started placing people that way. And what I really noticed really quickly is there's all of these agencies out there, and they'll just hand you a warm body and
good luck.
Good luck, yeah, I hope it works out. Keep paying us, And so I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do something different that's like way more effort and work than what most other people would do. And let's do it at a reasonable price. And let's do it in a way that requires no commitment whatsoever. Like, let me earn your business every month. And that's been working for us. But the one thing that I learned, Elizabeth, is this is a very referral-based industry. Like, oh yeah, I got my VA guy. Everybody's got like their VA guy. And I'm like, okay, cool. And we run ads and we get leads and all that stuff, but it's like referrals are where it's at. And so the thing that we're doing to be really intentional is I'm hosting a networking event here in Austin. I am reaching out. I'm like cold calling, literally just calling random people that could be my client and say, hey, this is what we do. I'm not trying to pitch you, but I'm just letting you know this is what we do. Do you happen to know anybody that might be looking for that? And I'm just, at this point, we're just going all in, chips all in on building the largest referral network that we possibly can. And I've got two.
The way the world is moving. Have you noticed that's different lately? I was just talking to a founder last week about this who was thinking about shutting down his sort of cold marketing campaign and just leaning all in to straight referrals and just building out his current network. I feel like that's just the direction that the world is going. I don't know if it's a symptom of AI and the deep fakes and I can't trust anything at the sea kind of a thing, but it sounds like you're seeing that same thing, right?
Yeah, they call it the trust recession. And it's changing fundamentally the way people make decisions, especially for, B2B type stuff like this, because they've been burned for years with overhyped promises and broken systems and people just abandoning them or taking their money and doing nothing. This has been happening over and over and over again. And so what's the solution? Well, one solution is to put up walls and say, well, I don't know, I don't trust anyone. And then the other solution, because you still need the help, is to go to your trusted network and say, well, who do you like? Even if they've never done business with you, if it's like, oh, Josh is a good guy. Well, it doesn't mean that I'm a good service provider, but At least I have some integrity according to your friend, and they're like,
Right.
sometimes that's enough
Yeah. That's a
because I'm
lot.
going to do a real good job for you. And I'm going to work as hard as I can to make sure that you're happy because I care about my relationship with Bob.
Right. Right.
And so, I've seen a lot of that happening. And the way that people buy is, I used to be able to run an ad and people buy it and they sign up for my whatever thing and then they'll pay any amount of money. But it's just not like that anymore. Like, I'm the same dude, but the way that people see me is different. And that's okay.
Yeah. You haven't changed, the world around you has. Yeah. Fascinating. Josh, it's always fun chatting about this. Where can people find out more about you, follow you, learn more about the company?
Yeah, you got it. So if you are one of those two people that I mentioned, if you feel like you're overworked, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, and you need to find some more time in your day, or if you feel like you've got that figured out and you're just looking to expand your production, clone yourself, then the best way that I know how to do it is to put a high-performing international virtual assistant into your company, and then we'll surround them with all of the support, resources, and guidance and everything they need. We meet with them on a daily basis to make sure that they're performing for you, they're executing consistently, and they're getting the job done, and they're helping you get your time back, expand your production, lower your stress, and allow you to just get back to leading your company instead of micromanaging and chasing everything down all the time. If that's something that's interesting to you, you can just go to vaiq.net.
Awesome. Josh Thomas, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, Josh. Thanks for joining another Cake on Tuesday celebration of beautiful disruption. Please share it, review it, and find more innovative stories at podcast.cakeontuesday.com. I'm Elizabeth Bieniek. Be bold, stay curious. Now go have some cake.